I want to make sure that you understood, because I was getting a different number, so I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure.
Yeah, so I'm one short of hitting 16%. So if I get one more senior rep or one more director, then I am at 16% senior rep or higher.
Hey,
Yep.
Robin.
You got it.
Hi, how are you? You're making me sweat bullets here.
Hi, Zach.
How do these ratios work? I'm like, oh yeah, see, this is why I had Sam on today, because Sam's gonna go through.
Well, I apologize. I was just plowing through my morning. I had an 8, a 9, a 10, 11, a 12, a 12:30. I have a big day today, and I thought I was totally like had the tiger by the tail. But anyhow, my bad. I didn't pay attention to the 10 Central thing. Normally, I do work in Mountain Standard Time hours, and so I just don't really. I don't know what to say, but I'm going to dive in whatever we need to do. Tell me where we're at, Robin.
Well, I kind of just want you to explain, first of all, what is a KPI, and how you work with that. And then the numbers that you've had me plugging away at are the senior rep ratio, the director ratio, the per rep value, and then the party, number of party totals. So whatever ones you think are most important, these are some of my top leaders, and I want them to be able to share these simple things with their teams. So KPI, why are we doing the senior rep ratio thing anyway? Why does it matter? And I know it's not apples to apples, but the importance of kind of knowing where we're at. So yeah, let's just dive, because I know these gals have, they've got busy days as well.
Yeah. All right. I'll be super fast. So basically, when we look at just the background of the reason why we came with this data was simply the same thing. I am applying a past learning. Okay, my entire platform is based on best practices. So I go and look at what did I learn about this last brand that I was a part of that went from about 400 million to 1.8 billion dollars in about 18 months. What were the big things for them that allowed for them to do that? And of course, there are several things that allowed for them to do that. First and foremost is that they had great brand awareness. People knew who the doctors were. They created Proactive. That stuff was like free advertising, because, if you had zits and then you didn't have zits as a teenager, didn't matter whatever came next, you were going to support what those gals did, right? So they had that going for them, and it worked. That was one thing. The other thing was they were willing to invest in technology. They had terrible technology at the time. You might know a company that had bad technology even 2 months ago that's trying to get better and will continue to get better. They had some inventory challenges. You might remember a company a couple of months ago that had rougher inventory levels, but they've gotten better, and they understand the sellout model a little bit better, right? They're trying to do it in very similar fashion to the way Nike's doing it, right? Go get the sneakers app and tell me if you're not more frustrated with the sneakers app than if you just didn't know about it at all, right? The sellout model is a really, really good model. It drives a heck of a lot of awareness, and it drives all the right kind of things. Now, the other part of it was data. We wanted to know what did the leaders do? What were all the leaders doing to allow for themselves to get over the hump, to, what were we doing really well? And so we looked at those key performing indicators, the KPIs, every one of them. We were looking at, okay, average order size, the month that most of the orders are being placed, how many people were on auto ship. That was something that was for them, not for this company, but we were looking at how many, what were the percentage of their teams that were on auto ship within their first 90 days. We were looking at total revenue, team volume, personal volume, structure, all kinds of title advancement things. We were looking at all of those key performing indicators. So when you look at Zaya, right, when I came in and they were like, all right, well, we think we can be the #1 prestige activewear brand in the United States. Let's make those moves. They go out and they bring in the technology people. They go out and they bring in the strategy person in Courtney. They go out and they bring in and bolster customer service. They start bringing in international expansion folks. If you were at their home office today, and I think that was the big miss about, convention, Summit was awesome, totally awesome, I felt, but The big miss was you guys not being able to see and meet some of the people that are behind the next 3 or 4 years of this growth, that are there at the home office. And it's just an incredible place. However, they, looking at everything, they're like, what is it? What else do we need to do? And it's data. We need to understand the data. What has been driving? What are the KPIs here at Zaya? And those KPIs here at Zaya, not a shocker, but they are team group volume. They are average order size. They are total number of parties hosted. That's a big one. So we'll come back to that in a minute. They are the party efficiency ratings. Another big one we'll come back to in a minute. They are senior rep or golden identification of the golden title. So that was the same thing we did there. Same thing every company tries to do is identify the golden title. What is the golden title? What seems to move beyond just that one title faster than and more efficiently than anything else? And it was senior rep here. We did tons and tons and tons of studies trying to break this down. And it was very obvious and easy that it's senior rep, right? Senior rep plus is senior rep and anything above that. But getting to senior rep is super important. We know that 38% of the people who are senior rep today will order on September 16th, will still be ordering on September 16th of 2021. 38% of those people that are senior reps today will still be ordering, will still have hosted a party within the last 60 days, and will still have enrolled somebody within the last 90. So those are really important stats, right? That's how that 38% comes up. But it goes to 70. So it was 38 and 74% of those same people that did it within their first 60 to 90 days. Those same people are enrolling, every month. They are still very active. They are hosting every month. They are doing all the little things. So there's something to be said about, doing it fast and then doing it at any point. There's still a heck of a reason to do it, but those that do it fast seem to have a little bit of a faster route to director. So those are the KPIs here at Zaya. So we went in, we looked at the KPIs, and then we said, okay, we've got to figure out the drivers, right? What are the drivers that affect every one of the KPIs? By the way, the other KPIs would be like commission checks, team rank advancement, personal rank advancement. There's probably like 12 or 13 things that we look at, right? And we kind of want to see a formula. We're trying to figure out what the best formula is. And we also we want to see those numbers going up. And if they're not, we're concerned. We're calling Robin, like, hey, Robin, what's going on? So far, all of her numbers have been going up, so she hasn't had to have that call. But, there will be a day when we start we'll have some concern, right? We'll call and we'll ask questions. And that's okay. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're going to coach, and we're going to make sure that we're kind of following this thing the same way a stockbroker would, right? In some ways. So anyhow, the drivers. What are those drivers? Well, we found two things that really seem to have like across the board buy-in from everybody. I mean, with every team. We did case studies, 25 in total we took directors, senior directors, executives, Zaya executives, double Zaya executives, and elites. We took 25 case studies from a really wide variety of groups. And then we took all double Zayas and above. So there were two completely separate case studies. And here's what we found. We found that in those double Zayas and above, that particular case study, 21 of the 25 people in that case study achieved the 3x4 status, 11 out of 12 months in that year, okay? And the ones that didn't, which was kind of weird, they were having babies. They were, some major life change. Like there was a really, really good excuse for them not to be, to take a month off of that. And they missed 1 month, by the way. So that was something that really jumped out. The second thing was, I promise I'm getting to the meat. I promise I'm going to tell you exactly how to find all these numbers in just a second. But if you don't understand the back part, the context, it doesn't really do you any good. And then the third one, or the second one was that the total number of senior reps they had on their team Oh no, that was so they did 3 by 2,500. But the other thing that they did was over a 90-day period of time, all 25 of them had a growth cycle. We'd go back 90 days to these different 90-day periods of time. And we'd say, oh, in May, they did 100 parties. In June, they did 120. In July, they did 160. In August, they did 200. They had growth in every one of those months of the total number of parties hosted. And then we would go in and look and see like, oh, let's look at their efficiency ratings. In all 25 of those cases, they all fell above 600, meaning that every one of the parties they hosted was doing more than $600 per party. So they were finding a way to not only have good efficiency ratings in their parties, but they were hosting more. And they knew that, hey, if I can commit myself to 90 days of that kind of activity, I look back, like I'll be happy, right? It's going to help my growth. So here's how to get all these numbers and how to figure it out. The last one was the Senior Rep Plus status, right? Super critical. We knew that the teams that were at certain levels in their business, and again, it's a little bit different for a director as it is for like a double Zia, but all of you are directors on this team, right? Or have at least.
Oh yeah.
So you're all at the director status or above. These are numbers you should be paying attention to every 30 days. You should have and set up a one-on-one call with Robin at least every 60 with your own presentation to explain all of your numbers, how you found them and what you think about them, your analysis. This is your business. It's not hers. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this for Robin and all my clients is for them to help them pass the baton that needs to be passed more often. We don't do it enough in our business. So what we do is this, and that's not to mean that you don't have great upline, right? We still want her support. We still want her love and adoration and help all the time. However, she also needs this for her own time freedom. She needs this for her family too. So it's a win-win for all of us. But here's how you do it. Two things that you really want to know. Number one, who doesn't want enrollments to happen on their team? Y'all want enrollments, right? I would imagine you'd be supportive of more enrollments this month than last month, right? Yes. Well, here's a great way of thinking about it and explaining to your team. How do you find that per rep value? What does a rep mean for your team? So just for instance, Christy, can I call on you for a second?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted.
Okay, this is I'm going to call you out right here. And so everybody's going to hear a couple of your numbers. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Listen, I promise it's not to like, you were just in the top right corner and I'm in the middle, so I called on you. So I want to know if you can go back. Well, you're not going to be able to do this one. I'll call you on it in just 1 second. So stay off mute because I'm coming back to you. But let me tell you how you find your per rep value, okay? And especially over an average period of time. It's a great way of forecasting for your next, 8 or 9 months of paychecks too. This is a great way to start to think about this. But if you look at the total number of volume that was produced inside of your team, and I think you guys can all agree that the majority of your volume is, well, that's another one. I'm sorry, I keep getting ahead of myself. This is per rep value. So take the total group volume from January all the way through to August. Every month, write down that number. So if in January it was 100,000 and then it went to 200 and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? It gets to 800,000, like you're just growing like crazy. Now I want you to take and add all of that up. I did that for my own simple math, and now I'm like, wow, try adding that up really fast, just without a calculator. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the total group volume from each of those months, and I'm going to add that up, right? So say I get a number of like $5 million of produced revenue for my business, $5 million. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So over the 8 months, that's what we've gained. And then I'm going to take the total number of team members, I'm going to take that number and divide it by 8. So
The number of months.
yeah, what's that?
The number of months that you did.
Yeah, so the number of months that I did, yeah. So if I found that I've produced $5 million of revenue and I divided that by 8, I'm going to get a average of 625,000, right?
Mhm.
If I say, what's the total number of reps on the team? And you say, well, the total number of reps on my teams is 3,018. Okay. Then I'm going to divide that 625 into 3,018. And it's going to give me a per rep value of $207. So that's a little low. I want to see that number above 400. That was completely hypothetical. I made the 5 million up. So did not make any sense at all. But that's how you find that number. What I want you to do is to go through the numbers and go January through August, get that total number, divide it by 8, divide it by the total number of team members you have on your team, total team size, and that's going to give you your per rep value. So now we know that every rep on your team has a particular value to your team. And so when you think about that, if I find out that in this scenario, those people are worth $207 right now. Okay. Well, I'm going to obviously have a conversation with Robin and maybe even Sam about why is mine so low, right? Because there's, if you're at 5 million and that's the number, that's kind of a low number. I would expect that number to be more like, I don't know, 400, somewhere in that range. So anyhow, if I'm looking at that though, and I know that my team's enrolling 35 people per month, I know I can automatically suggest that, hey, those people are going to be producing about 207 points of revenue or points of volume over the next 6 or 7 months. That's just kind of what they've done in the first 6 months or first 8 months. Those same people are going to be producing that kind of revenue. So if I'm enrolling 38, let's see, that's 1,044 points of volume, right? That's not very much per month, but that's something that we can think about and add to it. So when you're talking about I'll give you an example, Natalie Robinson's team. Okay. So she has this per rep value of like 690 and she's adding 15,000 reps a month on her team. And people want to know why she's went from 7 million to 40 million in revenue. That's why. So per rep value for her, really, really important. And it is for you too. It is for you too, especially because she didn't even know how to think about this math back then. She wasn't concerned about this. But now that you kind of know and know where your number is, these are great numbers to have. So does anybody have any questions on per rep value? They're really good. It's not perfect data, as you know, not perfect data, but it's apples to apples data. Like all of you are doing the exact same numbers. And so too is the rest of the company. So our averages are built off of the same numbers for everybody. So it does give you an idea like, oh, am I above or below average? Is there an anomaly in my team? Okay. Now let's jump to senior rep plus ratio. This is a big one, especially for you guys. This is probably the one that I think will have a bigger impact on your business in 3 to 5 years than the other ones. These other ones are more kind of immediate impact. But this one, I think, has that long-term effect, and it is this. You're going to take the total number of level ones, the total number of people on your team who have hit or achieved senior rep status or above. And Christy, can I call you on this one to do this?
Yeah.
Okay. How many people have hit above or senior rep or above on your team?
5.
5. Okay. How many people have you are on your level 1?
25, or I'm sorry, 20.
Okay.
25%.
Yeah. So hang on. You have how many total level 1s?
20.
And 5 of them have hit.
Senior rep or higher.
And they're included in that 20, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So 25%?
Right.
25% of your team is senior rep. Your senior rep plus ratio is 25%, or your percentage. I call it ratio, but we'll get to that in a minute. But the average, and what's your title?
Xi executive.
Xi executive. So your average is a little bit above. You should be at about 18%, right? So being at 25% is solid. You're above average. You know, if you are a brand new director, you're probably 16 to 18%, and then as an executive, 18 to 20. And then it's kind of interesting because when you get to double Zaya, it goes back down a little bit, right? It goes back down to like 18 to 20 again. So you get to Zaya executive, it's like it gets a little higher. Usually you should be at around 22% is where I would put my threshold. And then but for an executive in the business, a Zaya executive, is that what you are?
Yes.
Zaya exec, you should be right around that, right? 20 to 22%. So being at 25 is good. That means you're above average, you're doing more than what the typical person. I'm glad I called on you on that number because you were above average. I wouldn't want to.
That's when you called on me, was for that one.
We were wondering, okay, so how important is it that we include everybody in our level 1, even the ones who have not sold a dang thing in 6 months, even the ones that actually their title's senior rep, but they have not sold anything for 6 months. So how important is that we include every single person? Because
I still would. I mean, everybody else is. And so again, it keeps it apples to apples.
That's what we thought.
And that's the thing, that everyone else is including everybody. So the reason I say that is that we all know we have several of those people on our teams. We always will. And I guess if we wanted to kind of go in and start splitting hairs, but I think our data would be even that much further skewed. This is not exact, perfect data. It's not. Like, I wish it were, but it is as close to anything else that we can look at from a scoreboard perspective, okay? This is like the game of golf. It's some land in the fairway, some land in the rough, and we all have to get to the hole the same way. So it's like, I just feel like there's a little bit of a difference, but for the most part, we're all still playing the same hole.
Right. And I'd rather be, personally, because I'm always striving to do better, I'd rather see my numbers lower and what they are, and work harder to get them up. So it's not a bad thing. It's good to just know, like, okay, this is an area that I am going to work on. I'm going to get that number up. So.
Okay, now talk about parties hosted, because that's a big one, right? You guys all understand how to get the senior rep plus ratio?
Oh yeah, and the director would be the same way, except it's director and above divided by the total number of level 1s. And you said that percentage should be around 16% depending on.
Directors and above, say that again.
So if we were doing the same thing, director rep ratio and above.
Yeah, we don't have data on that because it's, again, director's an awesome title, but it's not our golden title. There's so many skewed ways of getting to direct. I mean, not skewed ways of getting there. There's so many skewed pieces of data when we looked at it. We just couldn't get a true number. So senior rep is the golden title here, period. Like the more senior reps. Let me give you this example really quick. Katie Gannerton, do you guys know who she is? Okay. So Katie Gannerton, in the beginning of this year, was sitting at about like 1.2 million in revenue, okay? But reverse that back to about September, where she's about 850,000. We started a program called Strong Start, which is very much like your dash to director, right? You guys have a little bit of a higher title, but with this major focus of helping people get to title advancements quickly. She implemented that program, and at that time, in September of last year, she had 251 senior reps or above on her entire team. But her volume was way low, like super low, and so we were like, what is going on? And maybe it wasn't that low. I can't remember if it was that low or not, but anyhow, we got to January, and she launched that program called Strong Start, which was really this onboarding program to help leaders get to senior rep. She was just following the golden title, right? She was like, golden title, that's what I'm doing. And yes, on Tuesday, what's today, Thursday? On Tuesday, I had my regular call with her, and we were going through these numbers, and I asked her how many senior reps she has on her team now, and she about died, but she has 1,500 and 20 something senior reps on her team. So it went from 250 to 1,500. Her volume went from 1 million to 9 million monthly.
Wow. And
So
from what time frame?
9 months.
Wow.
I mean, it's a crazy number. It's a crazy number. But so what happened was finally the volumes caught up to her structure, right? The volume started catching her structure. And then because everybody that was coming in as a new rep knew that, oh, I've got this program, I have to do these things over these 10-day periods of times. It's easy. I mean, it felt that way. And so they achieved and they got to the next level. And so it was just something that, like, that's why a Dash to Director program is so important. It's so important that you go all in with a program like this. And it's so important to be willing to listen and tweak if you need to, but it's really important. Senior rep plus ratio, per rep value, total number of parties hosted. I'm going to try to do this in 6 minutes.
That's fine. Yeah.
Total number of parties hosted every month. Do you guys know how to get to that number? Everybody?
When I'll stay on with them and show them how to,
Okay.
you have to put it into an Excel.
Yeah, you can do that because you can share your screen or whatever and just show them exactly where to click and how to do it. It's something that I want you guys checking every 30 days without fail. I would be personally checking this probably every 15 days, looking at it on the 15th day and then again on the 30th day to make sure that you are finding growth in this number, because in those same 25 case studies, remember I talked about 21 out of the 25 did 3x4, 11 out of 12 months. So that was kind of cool because it showcased that really was a standard of success for us, 3x2,500. In that same case study with those double Zayas, all 25 had 12 months consecutive growth of total parties hosted. So it was a no-brainer. Like, it was clearly obvious. There was no skew in the data. It was just simply that was the case. And they were seeing growth in their total number of parties hosted per month, going up month over month for 12 consecutive months. What I'm going to ask you guys to do is really track this for the next 90 days. Track this hardcore. This is a game changer number. I do not underestimate the power of this particular number. It is really, really important, okay? Total number of parties hosted. And then within those parties, here's where you've got to pay really close attention. So what I want to do is, and this is a great way for you to go back and look at your past 90 days. Go and look at May, June, July, and August. Do 4 months. May, June, July, August. Go and see how many total parties hosted in May. And then also look and see what is the total number of team group volume. Now, again, a disclaimer here is that we know that not all team volume is accounted for as a result of a party, but very, very little is in there that's not, right? I mean, enrollment volume, and then you're every now and again, you don't have the strength and you just place an order for somebody, right? That happens to build a party or whatever. So you're going to take the total number of volume, team group volume in the month of May, and you're going to do the total number of parties in that same month. Robin, will you run that number for me? Do you have that number?
For myself?
Yeah, could
So
you do it?
in May, I had
Tell me your team group volume.
563,000. I'm just going to round it to that.
Okay.
And then total parties was 533 in May.
So her per party grab in May was 1,056. That's she hosted. I mean, you did 500 parties.
533.
Yeah. So those 533 parties produced on average 1,056. It's a great way to look at your number and know what your forecasting should look like, right? If you can keep that number solid. Now, Robin, what was it in August?
780,000. and
Okay.
then 730 parties.
So that number went up just slightly. Through a 4-month period of time, it went from 1,050 something to 1,068. So again, her number's holding solid. So the fact that she's hosting 200 more parties and producing over $1,000 per party, well, there's your 700,000 to 500,000, right? That's pretty simple and pretty easy to be able to see. Like, if I look at my total parties right now and I see, hey, I held 100 parties last month, like, that's awesome. I broke the 100 mark. I definitely need to call my team and do a shout out. Like, that's a big moment. I didn't know, but because a lot of people just never knew and never looked at this. How many parties did I hold last month? And then we're going to set a goal, even if it's just by one. If I had 100 parties in August, come hell or high water, I'm holding 101 in the month of September. And the thing I'm going to really pay attention to is the party efficiency rating. Okay. How I got that number was I took the total number of volume at 780,000. Right, Robin?
Yeah.
So 780,000, you guys see this? Just on the calc. I hit the divide button by the total number of parties, which was
730.
730. And it gives me 1,068. That's the per party average, right?
And
So
these can
you
help
guys,
guide your incentives, right? So when you're wondering like, oh, what type of incentive should I run this month? These are the things that I'm now looking at. Like, I want to increase the number of parties. I want to increase,
party efficiency.
Yeah.
So here's the last thing that you really should think and be understanding of. Your numbers probably won't be that high right now. What we want to see for you, the average director is over 400. The average executive is about 600, and that's Xi executive. That's where we want to see it. The most successful leaders that we have in our business are about over 800. Okay, they're between 8 and 1,000. And here's a great number for you to pay attention to, because I had a gal in another team that's just kicking butt right now. She's a Xi executive. She's making her next jump to double. She's super excited about everything that's going on in her business. And she's been tracking these numbers now for 90 days. And she's been right on target, and she's seeing really good growth. And this last month, in the month of August, she called me on the final day and she's like, Sam, I think I'm going to fall a little bit short of my volume number from last month. I don't know what the heck's going on. Like, my senior rep status is up 2 points. I'm still enrolling. Like, my total number of parties, we've won 3 months in a row. We won this month again. The day's going to end by, and I'm up like 15 parties over the last month. Like, everything that you've been talking about has been working. It's been solid until now. Like, am I the first case study to fall below in these numbers? And I was like, there's no way. Like, I got to go in and look at this. So I go in and we start breaking all of our numbers down. And one of the things that she had not really paid attention to was the party efficiency rating. She wasn't really seeing it. She was actually incentivizing parties and hosting of parties. And so people were having fun with it because they were winning prizes. They were having a chance to be a part of drawings and all these things. But what they forgot to pay attention to was that they actually were not getting, they were not like, the parties were just kind of dipping because they were hosting parties for party's sake. Mm-hmm. They weren't putting any value on, like, I'll just do the 250 party or the 300 party, whatever. No, they were like, she needed to be making sure that party efficiency was a huge piece. And she had never really ran any incentives for that. So she found that her party ratio went from 1,000 to 800 in that same month. And that was the biggest difference. That was why she came short like 2,000 points of volume. She just wasn't hosting the same kind of parties. Now she's actually running, she did a 1-by-1 this last month. Mm-hmm. One new enrollment, 1,000 points, you're part of this big drawing. Mm-hmm. Her party efficiency rating has jumped to 1,200. So it's 400 point swing. And that's how easy it really can be with the right kind of incentive and the right kind of message. So guys, it's not very, I know it's super hard to build this business. Yes, question.
I have a question. I'm over here trying to look at where I find the party data. I don't know if this is a dumb question. I'm finding where I can look up party statistics per person per month. Is there somewhere for me to run this as an over? Because you're
I
saying
will
to check
show
it
you as soon as
overall.
Sam hops off. I'll
Okay.
show you because it was tricky to find. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah, it's everyone has that question, just so you know. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know the answer to it. The leaders always do, though.
Sam, I'll let you go. Thank you so much. I know you've got another.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. Thank you very much. This was helpful. I need to hear this like 10 times before it to like really register. So
Before I go, is there any questions? Like anything at all? Go ahead. Yes.
Was that all the stats that you want to go over? I know we had shortened time. I'm like loving this. I'm not even a numbers girl. My brain has actually exploded, but this was really good for me to learn. So
Did we cover everything that I just covered with you last week?
yep.
okay.
Can I share with them? I'm going to share with them Utopia.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is a stupid kind of side number, but I think you should pay attention. So the utopian businesses that we look at, especially brand-led, product-led businesses, I ask Robin and I ask all my clients to do daily revenue numbers. I want to know exactly what their numbers are every single day of the week at 9 o'clock. Now, they don't have to report that to me, but I just want them to go in, grab their phone, okay, type it in and go.
It's definitely part of my routine now every morning. That's the first thing I do.
Yeah. And it's just a really important time for us to be able to, anyway, so we look at this, it's just really important because in 6 months down the road or 3 months, 4 months down the road, I can go back and say, hey, what do we typically do on the 16th? And she can say, well, we didn't have any Wednesdays during that period of time. So, this is our number. It's about our average. And there's some anomalies in this month. What were they? Oh, we had that incentive. Okay, good. And then we just start to feel like we are really in control. We're the CEOs of our business. But here's the cooler part. What I'm really trying to get to is that in my 24 years of business, especially in these brand focused kind of companies like a Zaya, like a doTERRA, like a Rodan & Fields, like some of these brands in the channel. When I look at everything, I want to know that you are producing about 35% of your volume in the first 10 days. About 30% of your volume in the second 10 days. And about 35% in the final 10 days. Because if you do that, and let me just tell you, I just told Robin this, like, Robin, it's probably not going to happen for about 4 or 5 years. We're probably not going to, we're going to hustle for that much. We got a window of opportunity here to go build an incredible business. So my thought is hustle your butt off right now. Don't worry about this number. This is utopia. We'll eventually get there, right? Hustle your butt off. Go hit those titles because we want to maximize every dollar we can from this comp plan. We want to take advantage of the timing, the momentum, everything that's going to happen. And you guys probably know it, right? You're feeling it. I hope you're feeling it.
Oh yeah.
Was yesterday your largest launch?
Yes.
Right? Just so you know, this is probably my 16th or 17th Zaya call. It's the largest launch for all of 16 too. Okay, so it's going to get better, and it's going to get a lot better. We are entering into the early stages of what is called the chicken rich phase. I'm telling you, we're there. It's happening. Hold on tight because it's going to be fun. But you need to make sure that you're paying attention to these numbers and that you've taken the baton. It's now on you. You have to look at this stuff. You have to think outside the box. You have to, get your significant other involved and have them give you like just different ideas, different ways to look at it. Spark new ideas and just, I'm telling you, like, what can we learn from these numbers? These are apples to apples. Again, not perfect data. If you have better data points, bring them. By all means, bring them. But these are pretty dang good ones. And these will give you an idea of what the other leaders are doing as as well. And you can start kind of comparing yourself inside your team. You know, what are these girls doing? Anyway, I'm overdue. So oh, let's see who just did that. Oh, hey, she hit 30,000. Congrats.
Yeah, that's huge.
So now you got to get to 90 by the end of this month in your utopia.
Okay.
So anyhow, that's something to just pay attention to, because then we know our business is really, really healthy. So these numbers that I shared, it's the health of our business right now. This is what is healthy in Zaya. Okay. This is what the current doctors know about this situation. That's what we look at. Right. And so we have a really good success rate going on, and I'm excited for it all and for you guys, and thanks for having me on.
I'm sorry, Sam, can I ask a really
Yeah,
quick question just
Trista.
for clarification? So the daily revenue numbers that you said, you know, take a look at 9 a.m., you said 35, 30, 35. Are you talking about total group volume?
Yeah, I'm looking at total group volume, and just pick a time during the day that you want to go in and look at the number. And then what I do is it's an Excel file.
Okay.
So a lot of the girls that I coach, they go in and they click, you know, they'll screenshot it. And then on Sunday evening, they go in and they're like, oh yeah, I got to add those 7 days.
Mhm.
And then it's not something that's like, but here's the thing. I just want you to have it, because it helps you to know where you're at, right? It helps you to really understand your business. And, you know, when you're bored and motivated at the same time at night, sometimes that happens, you'll kind of flip through those numbers and it just spurs an idea. You know, you might pick up a book and read for a minute, and it gives you a little bit more confidence. You start treating yourself like a CEO and the boss, you know, like don't treat others like you're the boss, but treat yourself like you're the boss.
Yeah.
And so, and that's hard to do, by the way. We all treat others like we're their boss sometimes in this business. And that is the one thing we have to avoid like a plague, but we're like the coronavirus, I guess, is the new way of saying that. But, and so I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of those things. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Anything else?
Good stuff. Very good stuff. Thank you.
Okay.
Such good stuff. Oh my goodness. I have so much homework.
Yes.
I love
Fun.
it.
Okay. Thanks, Sam, so much. Girls, stay on for just a second. I'll show you how to find those numbers.
Hey, these
Thanks,
numbers
Sam.
don't mean anything unless you're reporting them though, right? So this is the only time I'm ever gonna have to ask you guys to be one another's like boss. Like report these numbers once a month and tell the story, create the narrative, Christy and Trista, and just go in and say, you know, call and say, Robin, this is Savannah. Hey, listen, senior rep ratios are up. You know, my per rep my per rep value seems to be dropping a little bit. Like, let's talk about that. You know, have those conversations with each other.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the only thing I'll leave you with. They don't do you any good if you don't. Okay. See you.
Thank you
Bye.
again so much.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye. So a couple of things, like he was talking about that utopia, that's just because like we don't want to see 50% in the last week. We love the hustle of the last week, but we don't want it to be an unhealthy business where we're like, whoa, we have a long ways to go. Let's all push. That's not super healthy.
I can't live like that.
What's that?
I said I can't live like that.
Right. It's not healthy all the way around. Again, I do want you to grab a notebook, call it your daily tracker. Some of you are already doing this. You're going to not only include your volume that morning or whenever you choose to do it, try to do it the same time every day, but not only the total group team volume, you're also going to write down how many reps you have that day and watch it increase day to day. And I also add, like today was a Wednesday. Today we started a new incentive. Today I'm doing a new incentive on my level 1. I'll make those notes in my journal. So when I look back, like why did we like take off on that day? What was so great about that day? So you know those things, and just start to make that part of your habit. Okay, I'm going to share my screen really quick. So we are trying to find your parties for the month. How many total parties for the month? So So you're gonna go into your, oh shoot, sorry. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Trista, the socks are back, just so you know.
I know.
All right.
Sorry,
I know. I
Get
saw
off
that
so I can
too.
go get
the
that.
sock.
So I'm gonna click on downline. I am
Okay,
going
sorry.
to,
I don't own socks. Can someone tell me, do I need them?
oh my
Yes,
gosh.
yes, you
You
need the
just said
socks.
that.
I have them on right now. They're the best socks ever.
I do them as giveaways too.
Wait, what did you just click on, Robin? I'm sorry.
I just went to download or downline.
To downline, and then I saw you type something.
Oh,
Did you-
I always put, it's a habit, 500 per page.
Got it. Okay.
Big deal. Okay, so
Hey, I think I know how to do this part, so I'm gonna jump off. Thank you.
yeah,
Gotta get back to work, but I'm excited to run all these numbers and show my girls. So
thanks, Steph.
thanks
so
for
much
putting it together. See you guys.
Okay, I'm going to backtrack. Actually, I went downline and then I hit a certain month. So if I want to look at August, I'm going to hit August.
Got it.
I'm going to go to run downline.
Okay.
In the top right corner, you're going to see Excel. You're going to open up Excel. You're going to scroll all the way across. So you don't see it here, so you got to get your scroll bar to go over here. And I'm going to go to, this thing's really screwing me up. Party count, so it's PTYCNT is the abbreviation.
Mhm.
Double click on it. So it highlights everything.
Mhm.
Again, this is just for August. You have to do this for every single month,
Mhm.
8 months. And then scroll all the way down. And right at the very, very, very bottom, it's going to say sum.
Hmm.
The sum is how many parties you had in August.
I love this. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet, you guys. Does that make sense? If not, let me know and I'll just type it out to you how to find it. So downline, then the month, top right corner, hit Excel, scroll across so you can find that PTYCT, which is party count. Double click on that column. And then you're going to go to sum at the very, very bottom.
I'm so excited to do this. I cannot even tell
I
you.
know. It's like I get butterflies when we talk numbers.
And
I'm weird like that, I guess.
it is funny what everybody's niche is. And
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I honestly love it too. It's just not my strong point.
Mhm.
Well,
Okay.
I consistently have tried to figure out my rep ratio for how much money we're doing, how much, you know what I mean? So this just, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Okay, so feel free to report to me anytime. Even today, if you go and do them and you're excited or you're scared or you're like, crap, this isn't where it, message me. I would love to hear where you guys are at and we can talk through some of that.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, you guys.
Thank you so much. Best call.
Yeah, this was really great.
Sorry about the delay today and taking so much of your time though.
It's okay. It's
Really
okay.
good. So worth it, Robin.
Yeah, very, very worth it.
Okay, adios.
Bye, guys.
Adios. Bye.
I'm so sorry, babe. So your meeting?